Hey guys, this is just a video explaining why Dexterity is the best tank stat in the game. So when you increase Dexterity, on the defensive side, the things that will increase are your parry, melee block, and range block. So the reason why these tank stats are the best tank stats in the game is because they completely negate or greatly negate auto attack damage. And auto attacks is basically the only type of damage that mobs will deal to you, other than bosses, which can do skill damage. But in general, or most of the time, you're just going to be taking auto attack damage. Okay, so as a comparison, let's see how much damage we take from this mob when it's just flat damage versus when it's blocked. So that's 2000 damage flat, and 398 when it's blocked. So I only took 20% of the damage when I blocked it. So as you increase Dexterity, you're gonna basically be parrying, which completely negates damage, or you're gonna be blocking more, which is the most common output of these two. And when you block, you're basically going to be taking damage that you can heal pretty easily. So let's compare it to the defensive stats that you get when you use stamina, right? So when you increase stamina, the things that increase are your HP and your defense and magic defense. So magic defense is basically inconsequential in terms of mobs because they just auto attack you, right? Apart from bosses. So we can ignore that bit for now. So with defense, defense is actually not as good as you think. So it's not actually a flat increase in damage reduction as your defense goes up. And even when you go very high stamina, it like barely increases what your defense is. You're basically just going to get defense from what items you use. Okay, so if you go very high stamina, let's say 242 into stamina, so that's basically a 300 defense increase. So let's see how much a 300 defense increase would be in terms of damage reduction. So let's see how much damage we take from these guys without blocking or parrying. 2313. Okay. Alright, so now let's test it with 3683 defense. So that's basically double the stamina. I mean double the defense that you'd get if you go 240 into stamina. And I take 2k damage. So as you guys can see, the amount of damage reduction you get from increasing stamina through defense wasn't actually that much. So when I put a really high investment into stamina, we only got like 300 defense, and that would only be equal to like 150 damage reduction, which is basically nothing at this stage of the game. It's basically nothing because you're still going to be taking 2000 damage per hit, right? So the only useful thing about stamina is the health increase. That's the big thing. So when I don't put any stamina, I have 10.9k, and when I put 242, 25.5, so that's about a 15,000 increase. But the thing is, when you increase stamina, you're still gonna take the same amount of damage. This moment I take about 1k damage from mobs when I don't block or parry, which is, if I was pure stamina, that would be 1/25th of my health. And when you're gathering mobs as an AOE character, you usually want to gather around 30. So if I gather 30 mobs, I'm gonna get one shot by them once I start face tanking. But if you go Dexterity instead, if those 30 mobs hit you, you're gonna be negating with melee, with block and parry. You're gonna be negating at least 85% of that damage. So instead of taking 30k damage from those mobs within the first second, you're going to be taking like 4,000, which you can easily heal off. So just to show you how good Dexterity is, I'm just gonna show a clip of me face tanking about 20 Yetis without any RM heals, just using my pot, my Gratin. Alright, I'm gonna show you guys why block is really OP. So I'm not gonna use any heals from my RM, and I think I'll hurt like around 20 to 22 mobs. So the only healing item I'm gonna use is this, the Gratin. Like, not even any pills. I think that's about 20, might even be more than 20. So yeah, I think this is pretty criminal. Like, so if you really want to min-max PVE face tanking, you'd want to keep increasing your dexterity until you hit 75% block rate, because I'm pretty sure that's the block cap. And then after that you can go stamina, so you can get more health.